For this case, we don't need to go anywhere. We don't need to walk through a haunted house or follow a trail of footsteps. This investigation stays exactly where it is. Because today we're studying a single photograph, a moment frozen in time, and the long history that led up to it. Welcome back to Supernatural Signals. This image was taken in 1936 inside Raynham Hall, a grand estate in North Fork, England. It shows a translucent figure descending a staircase. The figure appears human, wearing what looks like a dated brown dress, and her hands rest where a railing should be. And she isn't rushing, and she isn't reaching out for anyone or anything. She's simply walking. And while this photograph made the brown lady famous, the story didn't begin there. Now, it's important to note, long before cameras ever entered Raynham Hall, people were already seeing her. One of the earliest detailed accounts comes from a Christmas of 1835, during a gathering at the hall. Charles Townshend had invited guests to celebrate the holiday, including Colonel Loftus and another guest named Hopkins. One night, as they approached their bedrooms, both men reported seeing a woman dressed in an old-fashioned brown gown. The sighting was brief, but clear enough that they noted the age and the style of her clothing. The following evening, Colonel Loftus claimed to see her again, and this time closer. He later said what disturbed him the most were her eyes. He described them as dark and hollow, set within a soft, glowing face. She wasn't violent nor aggressive, just deeply troubled. The encounters unsettled the household so much that some members of the staff reportedly left Raynham Hall permanently. Now, to understand why these sightings carried so much weight, it helps to understand who the brown lady is believed to be. Before she became a figure on a staircase, and before she became a photograph, she had a name: Lady Dorothy Walpole. Born into English nobility in the early 1700s, Dorothy lived a life that appeared secure from the outside. She had status, wealth, and supposedly respectability. But security doesn't always mean freedom. Dorothy was married to Charles Townshend, a powerful politician. Historical accounts describe the marriage as deeply unhappy. And while it might not have been appeared violent in a public sense, it was controlling and restrictive and abusive in the ways that mattered most. According to historical accounts, when Townshend believed Dorothy had committed adultery with Lord Wharton, he punished her severely. Now keep in mind, when she had the affair with Lord Wharton, it was prior to their engagement. He did not divorce her, and he did not send her away, but he confined her to rooms inside Raynham Hall, where she was not allowed to leave. Later accounts complicate the story even further. Writer Mary Montagu claimed that Dorothy may have been deliberately entrapped. According to her, the Countess of Wharton invited Dorothy to stay with her for several days, fully aware that Dorothy's husband would never allow her to leave once she arrived. From that point on, Dorothy remained confined at Raynham Hall, isolated not only from society, but even from her own children. Dorothy died in 1726 from supposedly smallpox, still confined within the walls of the estates. Now, over time, the story of her life grew distorted. Legends added madness, cruelty, and perhaps exaggeration. But what history shows is not a mystery. It shows control, silence, abuse that was accepted because it happened behind closed doors. Dorothy lived in an era where a woman's suffering inside marriage wasn't considered a crisis. It was considered private, and privacy often meant silence. so the legend filled in what no one wanted to sit with. In 1836, another encounter added to the Brown Lady's reputation. Captain Frederick Marryat, a naval officer and popular author, stayed at Raynham Hall. Skeptical of the haunting, Marryat believed the stories were exaggerated, possibly spread by smugglers hoping to keep people away from the area. To prove his theory, he requested to stay in what he considered the most haunted room. And for 2 nights, nothing happened. But on the third night, Marryat was walking down a long, dark corridor with 2 young men when they saw the glow of a lamp approaching from the opposite end. At first, they assumed it was a woman of the household, but as the figure came closer, Marryat recognized her, the brown dress and the face, identical to the portrait of Lady Dorothy hanging in the house. According to later accounts, the figure stopped, raised a lamp to her face, and smiled. Marryat fired his revolver. The figure vanished instantly, and the bullet passed through a door straight behind her. 3 men witnessed it. After that night, Marryat never attempted to confront the Brown Lady again. Now, decades later, in 1926, Lady Townshend reported that her son and her friend saw the Brown Lady once more, this time on the staircase. They identified her immediately, matching her appearance to the portrait of Dorothy Walpole that still hung in the house. And then came the photograph. In 1936, photographers documented Raynham Hall captured the images that would make the Brown Lady known around the world. It was the same staircase and the same posture and the same sense of motion without destination. Skeptics suggested double exposure or lighting effects, reasonable human explanations, but no recreation has ever fully matched the image. And the sightings didn't begin with the camera. The camera arrived later. If the Brown Lady truly is Dorothy Walpole, her behavior makes sense. She doesn't rage, she doesn't warn, she doesn't seek attention. She walks down the same staircase again and again. There's no anger or resignation. Perhaps if no one helped her in life, why would her spirit expect help now? Perhaps she learned long ago that no one was coming. Now, after Marryat's encounter, sightings did become less frequent. Some claim the Brown Lady no longer haunts the hall at all, but instead appears at nearby estates such as Houghton Hall or Sandringham House. Others believe she simply faded, not because she found peace, but because attention moved on. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall isn't unsettling because she's a ghost. She's unsettling because she reflects something human. What happens when suffering is normalized, when silence is mistaken for strength, when everyone assumes someone else will step in, and no one does? Alrighty, so what do you think about this case? And what are your thoughts on the Brown Lady? And please leave a comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. And as always, stay curious and stay tuned into the supernatural. Thanks for watching.